Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. There's a famous saying, goes like this: God helps those who help themselves. This saying is not found in the Bible. A poll a few years back discovered that 80% of Christians believe that this saying, God helps those who help themselves, comes from the Bible, but it never says it in such simple ways. You can see why it has such currency in the church. This saying, it puts emphasis on agency and personal responsibility for life. We want to see a better world? Well, we can't stand back and just hope that someone else will do it. We can't stand back and just pray that God will bring about a better world. There's a sense of responsibility. If we want a better world, then God is calling us to go and make it. And this is something that's important. We should never deny our own personal responsibilities or our own personal agency in life. When John says God is love, the implication is an active agency in life. If you say you love God you cannot see, how can you say that if you ignore the challenges and the trials of your brother and sister who stands beside you? Impossible, John says. Impossible. So there's a notion of personal agency in life that the saying God helps those who help themselves implies, lifts up. And it goes beyond just the moral claim, right? Like, why would God help you if you won't help yourself? That's a good question. But it goes to a deeper question, I think, which is, how will God help you if you won't help yourself? Like, how do you expect God's going to help you if you won't even lift a finger to help yourself? Self-denial and self-discipline is a critical component of personal growth. You can't really get far in any endeavor in life if you're not engaged in some form of self-sacrifice, self-denial, or self-discipline. What happens though when you come up against something in your life that's bigger than yourself? You can't really help yourself. You're in a chronic situation that seems hopeless. It doesn't seem in any way resolvable in a helpful way. I've seen people in chronic pain, people struggling with chronic housing challenges, chronic financial challenges. I've seen people in chronic relationship crises. I've seen people in chronic addiction, chronic loneliness. And there comes a point where it can be so overwhelming that you don't think things can change. And it's easy in those places just to give up. Sometimes people really are in hard places that they cannot see a way forward in. And they don't see any point in making an effort. What happens when we come to a place where we need a God who is the God who helps those who cannot help themselves? What happens then? That's what happened to Israel. Israel had been taken into captivity by the Babylonian Empire, deposited in a foreign land 1,000 kilometers away. This is a tactic that many ancient empires had done. They take a troubling people, a difficult people, and they just plunk them up from their homeland and they deposit them in another part of the empire with the hope that they'll just fade away and die, disappear into history. And in fact, there had been no nation who had been taken into captivity, deported to a foreign land, who had ever survived, stayed together as a people. And now Israel is in that place. They've been deposited in a foreign land by the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. And the expectation, of course, is they're just going to disappear. Israel's facing an existential crisis, a death of a people. And they've given up. They see no point. And part of it is because they've caused this circumstance to come upon themselves. They're the source of their own problem. How do they expect that anything is going to really change when they're the problem? There's a song we sing at Trillium sometimes. It goes like this: God will make a way where there seems to be no way. God works in ways we cannot see. God will make a way for me. God will be my guide, holding me close in troubled times. With love and strength for each new day, God will make a way. God will make a way. Do you believe that? That God will make a way for you, or God can make a way for you? How far are you willing to take that principle? How far are you willing to go in trust with that understanding? The prophet Isaiah comes to the people of Israel with this word of God. And it's really simple. About 26 chapters of Isaiah, the back half of Isaiah is about this simple message. And it comes down to this: God will make a way for you, O Israel. That is, don't get up. God's on the move. You may not see what's going on. You may not see the machinations. You may not see the work of God behind the scenes, but God is making a way for your return back home again. Lift up your eyes, O Israel, and see. God is on the move. That was true 2,500 years ago. It's still true in our lives today.